Hi, I'm Pastor Clay, teaching pastor at New Hope Community Church, and I would like to invite you to join us this Sunday as we continue a series that we started last week. It's What Keeps You Up at Night. Last week our senior pastor, Pastor Paul Bain, preached on grief, the one thing that keeps us up at night. If you haven't heard it, I would encourage you to go to our resource section of our website and listen to it today. It was excellent. But in it he talked about the things that cause us grief, not just the loss of a loved one, but the loss of a job, the loss of a dream. And many times we don't turn loose of that pain that really is there. We don't recognize it. He talked about embracing that pain and turning it loose. Well, this week I'm going to talk about self-pity. It's the next step after our grief. It's a choice, as R.T. Kendall talks about in his book, The Power of Humility. It's a choice we make to dwell in self-pity. It's a natural response, but it's not always a good response. Many times it blinds us to the provision that is right there for us, that God has provided, but we're too blind. We're focused on our self-pity of our circumstance. Many people in the Bible experience self-pity. Abraham and Sarah didn't think they were going to have a child, so they had Ishmael. It wasn't God's provision. They didn't wait on God. Later they had Isaac. We see Moses had a meltdown in the desert, struck the rock twice instead of once, and God didn't allow him to go into the promised land. King David, read the Psalms. He's all over the map. He's up and he's down. You know, sometimes he's wallowing in self-pity, but then he gets out of it. He realizes he needs to focus on God. Or you have Jeremiah, the prophet. You know, he even bemoans the day he was born, you know, that God had put him in a situation to testify to the people. Many of the prophets experienced that. So self-pity is a natural response, but it's what you do with that self-pity that makes a difference. The day after Sunday is Memorial Day. We honor those who have died to protect us. I'm going to talk about my uncle, Lieutenant Colonel Ernest Brown. He was a World War II veteran. He was captured in the Philippines early on, about the time Pearl Harbor was bombed. The Japanese attacked the Philippines. He was captured. He was in the death march to Bataan and survived. Not only that, he survived 2 attacks on prisoner warships where they were bombed. He was injured 3 times during that time. Went to several internment camps in Japan and then finally in Manchuria. And after about 3.5 years was rescued by the Russian soldiers. He came home. He only weighed about 100 pounds and had much trauma to him, but to many people's surprise, he re-enlisted and he became a paratrooper. He never let his self-pity take hold of him. He just realized it was life, and that happens to different people and for different reasons. So this week we want to talk about how do we overcome that self-pity? How do we take the right road and turn to Christ for our answers? So I hope you'll join me this week, and as we continue on this journey and look to Jesus, the one who we can offer gratitude to and see the provision that he's already provided for us to help us out of our grief and out of our self-pity and back on that road to life. Come join us. Thank you.